Okay, what we're going to tie today is Shady Lady. Now you can see that in my vise here. It's a black bug, commonly known on the Miramichi as a Shady Lady. I'll show you how we tie that. It's very easy. It's a deer hair fly trimmed. Oops, put that down there. First thing I start with white thread. I use white thread at the beginning on top of the black hook. So when I apply the floss, the color black won't bleed through, and I'll keep my natural colors a little bit longer. I use a little piece of silver tinsel as a tag, and the reason I put that on is to help prevent, I should say, the floss from being going over the hook, or when it's grabbed by a fish or a salmon or a trout, so it won't come off the bend of the hook. Holds it there. You don't need a couple of turns, that's all that's required. There, cut that off. I'm going to put a tail. Today I'm just going to use a little bit of duck feather. It brightens the fly up, and it helps the salmon or trout see the fly a little bit better, and that's the object. You apply that just to the end of the bend of the hook is enough, like that. Tie that down, snug it up, bring it up to the tag there, and then bring it back, tie that down. Then we'll apply the two butts there. Whoops. There, nip that off. Today we're going to use a green and a red as our butts. I have a particular way I tie mine on, in that I lift it up the little end here like that, and wrap it over, then wrap it back. I take this end and I bring it down, tighten it up real tight, and that locks the floss in. Also prevents the salmon from grabbing and just ripping it off. It's a little bit more protection. Then I just apply the red one now, and put that on, tie it on the same way. I'll just nip the green off, put this end up, tie it up nice and tight, right up to about there, 50-50. All important cheating. And then come back down here, tie that off. Then I'm going to prepare myself to tie on the deer hair. I'm going to use a monocore today. It's green, but I could use any color at all. It's a strong thread. When you're spinning deer hair, it certainly helps. Today we're going to use a pretty coarse deer hair. If you find it's too coarse and difficult to turn, you can always use a spray, very thin mist spray on top of your deer hair, and that'll soften it up a little bit. It's the same as they do when they go to the barber and get a haircut. In my case, it's not a problem. I don't have much hair left. Then take a bundle. It'll take about 3 bundles. This is size 6 hook. It's a reasonably long shank hook. You just apply that on top, just right on top. Tie the thread around it, snug it up a little bit. Then you want it right on top of the other one, snug it up a little bit, and there's nothing to it. It'll spin it around, and no effort required. If you tighten it up too much on your first turn around, it prevents the deer hair from spinning, and you got yourself into a bucket of problem. You're going to start over again. So as I'm tying these few bundles on, I'll talk you through it best I can. It's the size of a small pencil, HB pencil. Tie it on, right on top. 1, snug it up. 2, snug it up a little bit, and just let it around, and it will spin right around the hook. You notice that I put thread and materials. I left that thread and materials on the shank of the hook while I was tying it. There was a purpose for that, is that if you don't, the deer hair spins too easily, and what'll happen is as you're fishing it and whatnot, and if the deer hair turns, you've got a hackle on top of it that's wound around the deer hair, and it will turn, and eventually it'll all come apart. So you be nice and tight. There, spin it. Take a look here. And you keep these bodies pretty tight on these bugs. They're designed to be fished subsurface, so you want a reasonably tight body. Just stack it in. Don't put too much. Put too much, you go beyond this point here, just before the eye of the hook, and it's called choking the head. And then you have other problems that are caused because you can't tie your head on or this or your hackle because there's no room left. Leave yourself lots of room. Better to have more than not enough. Because there's some people fish this with a riffling hitch or whatnot, and we need room. So just tie that back like that. Leave yourself a fair amount of space between the eye and your body. Tie that off. A couple of half hitches will do just fine. There. Tie it off. Take that off. There, lift that up. Now it's just a matter of shaping this. And it can't be too fast. I mean, you can spend all day on that. But you just nip it apart. Go around the hook. Then around here. And see, one of the reasons why I tied my tail on first. Some people tie it on later, but when I do that, when I'm trimming this, because I don't take too much time. I'm slowing down today for the reason so you can see what I'm doing. But when I tie it on after, I normally end up cutting it off and ruining the fly, and I have to start over again. So I tie the tail on first and try to keep my scissors as far away as possible from it. And you thin these bodies down. Again, the reason you don't want too much, if it's too chubby, it will float. And then you complain the fly's floating, but there is a way of tying it with your leader to prevent that, but get into that another time. That's how I do it. Then I just tie some black thread on here. 6 or 8/0. This is 8/0. Then I'll take a hackle and wind a hackle on. What I do before is I prepare my hackle. I take a little nip off that so I have room to tie my thread on. Tie it on nice and tight too. And then bring your thread back towards your eye of the hook. Nip this off. You only need about 3 full turns on this. You don't want too much hackle. If too much hackle, again, it'll float. So there's 1 full turn. 2, divided amongst the body. 3, and come up here. Hang on, there we go. Tie that. Tie it off in the bottom. It's an up eye hook. As you can see, it's an up eye hook. So anytime you got an up eye hook, you tie your materials on the bottom. If it's a down eyed hook, then you would tie your materials on the top. And that prevents the fibers or hair or whatever you have to get in the eye of the hook, and then you're there trying to play with this thing to get the fibers or hair or thread or whatever you have in there. So that's the hook. That fly is tied. Snip that off, and it's just a matter now of forming a head and whip finishing. The whip finishing for me, in my right anyway, I tie it on from right to left and left to right. That creates a real good whip finish, a strong from my right to my left, a couple of turns, then back again, and finish off right there. And then it's just a matter of tying off. That creates a real good Loctite whip finish. And really, the fly is not complete. I'll just put my little signature there. I normally put a little red band on there. I've been doing that for so many years. There's no point in it. You don't need it. It's just me. And we'll finish that on there a few turns. go. Tie that off, nip that off. Then we can put a little bit of lacquer and the fly is complete. There. There we go. All the way around. Now you have what we call a Shady Lady, and the way we tie it here on the Miramichi. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy it again. Fish it with confidence, and that should do it. So thank you very much. Bye now.